welcome everybody to the Sean and Shannon Power Hour, or as it looks like now, the Sean, Alex, and Stefon Power Hour trio extravaganza.
No. Stefon and I are both just combined Shannon.
Oh, it's you are now a unit that is Shannon.
Shannon, yes.
Yep. I think
it takes
that's
two
good.
of us to equal her energy and pizzazz, if you will. So
I think that makes a lot of sense to me. That makes a lot of sense.
Who's gonna be the sassy one though of us?
Yeah.
Stefon. Okay. All right, you got it.
He won. He won the sass.
Yeah.
So Alex, that means that you have the corralling energy, the side that keeps us all from being absolute idiots.
All right. Well, that's hard since I'm usually the idiot here.
That's okay. All right, so we have a lot to cover tonight, so we're gonna jump right into it. I think normally this is where Shannon and I would just talk about our weeks. So I guess we'll do a condensed version of that. How are you two doing? How was your week?
You can go first, Stefani.
Yeah, how was your week, Stefan?
It was good. I was in Bahaba on vacation last session. That ended well. Gorgeous. Anyone ever thinking about doing it, get up there. In the off season though, I've never been otherwise, and I can't imagine it when it's packed. And then I saw this crazy guy. Wait, I don't know where we are in relation. I saw Alex when I was up there. Stop by. It's fun. It turns out that we don't just exist as blocks, and
we're not just in their boxes.
Yeah. Speaking of boxes, and then I saw Sean on Saturday and did some D&D where I DM'd him.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I forced a fatherly relationship with him.
Yep.
I threw him a curveball. He was like, "My father abandoned me," and I was like, "No, I think it's better if your father was banished and just said everyone just said he was, abandoned you."
Yeah, it was nice. I got to reconcile those emotions for my character.
Yeah.
Alex, how was your week?
It was good. For the most part, I worked. I wasn't on vacation like some people.
Who do you know that was on vacation?
Just a few people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, but got out on the bike this week
Ooh.
finally, and it was pretty nice riding with a group.
Weather was beautiful this week. Was it beautiful up there with you?
Yeah, it was like a 72.
We hit 90 degrees in Connecticut.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it was actually pretty.
You
bad
are
that
April.
day. That day was pretty awful, actually.
Yeah.
I was not happy.
But it was a good week. A lot of running, a lot of riding, and then what did I do Friday?
What did you do Friday?
Hey, what'd you do Friday?
I think I just played Resident Evil.
Nice.
Which was great. Fucking love the remaster or remake.
Yeah, my Persico keeps trying to get me to play it because I've never played any Resident Evil game.
Oh, good. Oh, you've never played any Resident Evil game? Well, I think Resident Evil 4 is a very, very good introductory game to the series.
Without a doubt.
Nice. I've been playing Jedi Fallen Order this week, so I want to replay it before the new one comes out. It's probably what I'm gonna do after this, or paint your minis finally.
Oh.
All right, I think that's enough about us. Now let's talk about us, but in the D&D sense.
Wait, Sean, how was you?
Oh, how was he? It was he?
How was you? How was
he?
7 day.
I had a good week.
7 day Sean. Okay, good.
My 7 day Sean was pretty good. I had a busy week at work, but it was not like hectic. So class was nice. I teach a night class on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it was really nice this week. Actually, it was fun. We watched. It's an intro to film class, and I had them watch Shaun of the Dead on Tuesday because we were talking about editing. And then on Thursday we watched Moonlight because we were talking about color in film. So it was a good week. Last week I made them watch Children of Men when we were talking about some cinematography stuff, and I forgot how depressing that movie is. And so I gave them a little bit of a break with Shaun of the Dead. But no, it was a good week.
There you go.
My writing class that I teach also went really well, and then this weekend had some D&D fun with Stefon, and it was a good time overall.
So would you say it was Stefon?
It was pretty Stefan. Had a pretty good fun time.
I don't know how I feel about this.
I think you should feel bad.
Yeah,
No, I do. I feel bad.
yeah. Not me. No, you should feel bad.
I feel
You
bad.
should feel bad for making that possible.
Actually, no,
Speaking
that's
of
my
feeling
father.
bad for making something possible, let's talk about
Session eight?
session 8 first. So what happened in session 8?
But Stefan, you do it, and then I'll fill in some gaps, and then we'll do
Okay.
the opposite for 9.
Okay, sounds good. I was not prepared for this. I'm so scared. All right, so we start. It's the 9th of Maravala. The year is 1326. It's Pierre's dog. The only dating system that matters. And Professor Sindel Ferrix is unconscious beneath Fearn. Uh-oh, what happened? You'll all recall that we broke into this individual's house because we thought it was belonged to Hastings, ambushed them, and chased him a little bit, and now Fearn knocked him unconscious. Sass starts by being very upset with us. She lectures us on violence and shit, is what I wrote. And then I, in my Jacquette translation, goes, clearly doesn't have the stomach for this line of work. But we agree, Jacquette's kind of like, yeah, no, okay, you're right. So he says that Sass can question Sindel, and he's kind of also just like dismissive of her, like, whatever, you want to do this, go ahead. While this is happening, and they wait for Sindel to wake up, Bruce and Septimus are doing the smart boy thing of investigating her notes and research, finding out more about the work she does, which, they cement the connection between her and Captain Otto Hastings, and find a time and location for a meeting, as well as this mine of elemental magic, where, when activated, it gushes out water, filling a space somewhat like a decanter of endless water. Sindel wakes up and Sass questions her with Fearn's help. Meanwhile, Jacquette is listening in because he's a pervert, a snoop. What? They don't really learn much.
He just likes listening.
Yeah, he just likes listening. Really, I had intended it. I just thought it would be funny if Sean was like, yeah, you can hear what they're saying. If like they said something about Jacquette, he would like curse on the other side, mistakenly loud enough for them to hear him, and it would just be a fun little bit. But
That would have been a good bit, but they never mentioned you.
They never mentioned me, besides just like, yeah, he's crazy. All right, moving on. Sass does like kind of ingratiate herself with Sindel here, and like kind of is like, hey, like we get it, we're human too, but like what's going on? But unfortunately cannot get Sindel to really give much on what Hastings and her kind of connection is. I do find that there's a nice view of Hyven from the rooftops, reinforcing the idea that this is very high up, something that was miscommunicated to me. So it's kind of like, I'm trying to think of like a good contemporary example.
Yeah.
And I can't think of a city that does this, that like has like a street. Actually, well,
what about kind of like I don't remember the name.
I was gonna say, if any of you have been to Cusco, Peru, just flaunting my world traveling, or Yerevan in Armenia, their cities up on a hill, and they have like residential spaces up, and you look down to like the city center. And that's kind of what I used for my frame of reference. But I'm reminded of this view, and that the rest of the city has some electrical lights, arcane magical electricity, but electricity nonetheless. There's some kids, and so we reconvene. Fearn and Sass kind of update us about what they learned, and Jacquette's like, give me 5 minutes and I'll have more. And he goes in and successfully learns that she kind of believes in the cause that Hastings is supporting, but I don't really think I know what that cause is. I don't learn it at this point. But Jacquette kind of uses some of the individuals, or he tries to use the individuals that he knew on the airship that she inadvertently helped shoot down way back in our session 0 that he was on. And, we kind of just learn more, as you were saying, that she's this kind of depressing woman who is like, yeah, people die. What do you want? So what? They were going to die somehow. Doesn't matter if I'm the one that assisted in that, But yeah, and so I don't get too much more. But then Bruce comes up with this great plan to go to the meeting, and he's like, we'll make a replica of that mine, and Jacquette can use disguise self to look like Sindel, and we go to the meeting and get some more information and give Hastings a not dangerous weapon. So we're like, all right, cool. That's great. We do a long rest, I think, or a series of short rests.
Short rests.
Long rest. Because it's an early morning meeting and it is now like midnight. We try to get a little more questions out of her, but she doesn't really give us much. So we leave. There's a nice what's the thing that you open in the ground? Hatch. Thank you. What were you gonna say, Alex?
Well, I thought you were gonna. Never mind.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Continue.
No worries. Nice hatch. Trapdoor. That's actually the word I was looking for. Little trapdoor hidden on the first floor that she was originally running to that leads into a series of mines underneath this, which is where my misunderstanding earlier that I mentioned came out of, because I was like, wow, we dropped her really far away. Shouldn't we have hit the water table by now? And Sean's like, you're an idiot. And I was like, all right, fair.
That's exactly what I said. I said, you're an idiot.
Yeah, that's basically. And so,
what actually happened is I got very defensive because I was like, I need to. No, this is right. This is correct. I'm not an idiot.
Yes.
He didn't say you're an idiot. Said I'm not an idiot.
Yeah, that's fair. No, Sean, we never do that about each other. Well, we like to. A little bit. Yeah. And we go down into this narrow passageway, blue. I use a hooded lantern, that hooded lantern that adventurers start with in their pack. I was like, let's use this. We all had
very useful.
Everyone
item.
except for it is.
Oh yeah.
As an action, you close it, and then it's just dim light instead of
Good for
30
sneaking.
feet of bright. Exactly. But we all have dark vision except for Septimus, because of course, leave to the human. He gets a +1 on all stats, but is basically useless otherwise. And we get into a tight squeeze. There's a giant bat that tries to eat. It wants to eat Bruce, and so that's the thing, is that we're like, Bruce is like, I'll go first, guys, and we're like, oh, cool, good on you, man. And he starts going in, hears something, and he's like, nope, fuck this, I'm getting out of here. And we're like, oh, okay, well, that's all right. So our big buddy Fionn goes through, and then Sindel goes through, and then it's Set. Who goes through that?
Sass.
Oh, it's Sass goes through. Yes.
Well, she's the one who because she has the devil's sight, so she saw it perfectly and kind of got the real image of it.
And she was like, guys, giant bat. And Septimus was like, what? Light on my hammer. And the bat's like, no. And so we fight it, and we don't kill it, but we fight it.
Yeah, you scare it away basically, because it's a real creature. It's not.
Also,
just a robot.
I do love Persico's idea to catapult his own weapon.
Yes, that's right.
His own hammer. I thought that was awesome.
That was actually really awesome.
And then he was like, "Oh, I hope it doesn't get stuck on a ledge."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, because he doesn't have the ability to get it back.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Why doesn't he? He should artificer thing.
I can give him it. Yeah.
Well, he can do it himself. He's an artificer.
Yeah, but that takes a slot from him.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, but all his artificer things. I've looked on his character sheet. All his artificer things only benefit him right now. So you don't need to give your stuff to him. There are other party members that want cool items. It's me. I want the items. Give me everything.
Bruce is the does make sense for Bruce to be the one who's like making stuff for other people because he doesn't really want to be in the fray.
Right.
I gotta level up once, and I can get you a repeating shot, or in your little crossbow.
Unless I end up getting some powder weapon.
Awesome legendary item at level 5.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true.
But yeah, so we fend off the bat. Septimus is cool, but also caused the issue. And then we get to a nice mine shaft that we feather fall down because Fjern's got feather fall, and god damn it, he's gonna use it a million times. And then we finally land at the water table, and I was satisfied. But there's also a bridge. And this is where Sindel says, hey, here's the first of those traps I mentioned. I don't think I mentioned that originally. She told us, like, yeah, I can get you there. It takes about an hour.
Oh, yeah.
So, just as another note, that after we took the feather fall down, that was the end of session 8.
Yes.
So correct.
Now
yes,
we're transitioning into session 9.
Correct. Yeah, because the last thing she said, the last thing that happened in session 8 was her. Fuck my phone. My phone keeps falling off my desk.
How about not?
Yeah, you should disable the leg feature.
I don't understand. This phone is really slippery. Is all I'll say. Is the Pixel 7s are very slippery.
You heard it here first, folks. Pixel 7, slippery.
Slippery phones.
Find out more.
But yeah, the last thing from session 8 is her saying, "Here's the first trap," and then we pick up the next session. So before we jump into 9, though, is there anything you have to add, Alex, to Stefon's recap there?
Honestly, no. He kind of nailed all of it.
Almost like someone's really good at taking notes or something.
Yeah.
Alex, if you had to give
Shannon.
a grade to Stefon, what would you give him?
I'm gonna do it out of a dice roll, and I'm gonna roll a dice for it.
Oh, so he's not even gonna give you a real grade. He's just gonna let fate grade you.
Yeah.
Well, I disagree with that, but okay. I'll accept it.
So the gods of today, the gods of luck. Let's see what they. I personally will give you a 19 out of 20 for that recap.
Ooh.
Oh, thank you.
Because I think you covered all the important parts and also
Pretty good.
the details.
Merci.
Let's see what the RNG gods. You got a 12.
All right,
So,
I'll take it.
So yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, I would take
12
that.
out of
20.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. That's
I gave him a
grade.
19.
It's a passing grade. Yeah. So, Stefon, you're getting A's all around. Shannon gave you an A.
Yeah.
Alex gave you an A. Fate gave you a D minus.
And that's more accurate to what I'm used to.
Alrighty. So let's jump into episode 9 now.
Mm-hmm.
Take it away, Alex.
Oh, right. I'm doing this.
Yep, that's all you, buddy.
Your idea.
Yeah, I made the suggestion too.
Just funny because you have more notes for session 8.
I do, and I have barely any for 9. So
I started putting some in. You can work from that.
Oh, yeah, I can read your notes. That's true.
Yeah, so everyone at home knows
I'm gonna first go off of
notes.
my
Like
notes.
smart players.
Yeah.
Sharing notes is a very smart thing to do.
I never, Shannon, I'm saying this now. If you concede that I'm the better note taker, we'll allow you access to the OneDrive. But you have to, on stream, and I want it to be during tomorrow night, you have to concede that I am the superior note taker. If not, I understand, but...
You heard it here first, folks. The gauntlet has been thrown down to you, Shannon.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, take it or leave it.
All right.
Oof.
Here we go.
It's like an ultimatum right there. All right, so we start off, as Stefon has noted, the first of the traps along the sewer system. Across a stone bridge, nice little arched stone bridge, and along it there are stones along the bridge that are loose, or, as Sindel notes, that you have to be careful walking across it because something will happen. What that is, or the mechanism that initiates the trap, or what kind of trap it is, we don't actually ever reveal because we all go through pretty flawlessly. Jacquet had the great idea of lining the pathway of the stones with the rope, his rope from his bag, making it so that we didn't have to even roll for the rest of the party, which was smart.
Clever boy.
Clever boy.
Well, originally, I was like, I'm gonna use minor illusion, and I was like, no, let's do
That's
the
not how
easy
that
one.
Yeah.
spell works.
Yeah. It's only a 5-foot cube, and what do we have? I forget how much feet we
It's a
had to travel.
20-foot
I think it was
long
like
bridge,
20?
I think.
Okay. And then after that, there was like this. Was it like a circular room? This is going off. And we had to go around the outside to get to the other end, or else an iron gate would have came down upon us, and the room would have started filling with water. Was there? And I don't know where this is coming from, but was there like an exit that was above us that we had to climb up? Okay, all right. Oh yeah, great. Because threw the rope down, and then had Bruce had Fearn help him up because Bruce doesn't have the strength to climb a rope. For his, if he had Featherfall on, maybe he could do it because he's a little lighter. But
Yeah.
Anywho, and then the third sections of traps was just your standard hole in the wall crossbow bolt coming out, triggered by little ropes or strings,
Old-fashioned traps.
trip ropes. What's the proper
Trip wires.
Tripwire. For some reason I could not think of the word wire. I was like, trip string, trip rope,
Trip string, trip strands.
You're just gonna trip. I don't know.
You're just gonna trip.
Yeah.
You're just gonna trip, man.
And then that was the last. Yeah. So Sindel kind of just guided us through all of that. It would have been
It's funny. It was
interesting.
while I was like planning this, I was like, well, it doesn't like. I guess like it doesn't matter. Like she's got the traps are completely inconsequential because she's going to lead them through. Like she's not. I had no plan for her to betray you all. So I was like coming up with the traps, and I was like, well, they should still be interesting, but like they don't matter that much.
Right. I was actually gonna ask you about that. I was like, what? Like, how much work did you put? Like, were there DCs at all, or were you just like, they're gonna get across?
No, there was a point when I stopped planning it because I was like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
They're not going. The only one that I had like any like possible like things for was the first one. Because that was the only one that I was like
something else.
Exactly. It was also the only one where I was like, they could still fuck it up. Like if they don't have a plan to actually follow each other, the bridge doesn't look like it can hold all of them, so they can't go one at a time, or they can't go all at once, just like right behind each other. And I was like, there's a small chance in that one that someone missteps. And then I had the mystery block, where I was like, if anyone rolls a 1 while they're crossing, then they're gonna get the mystery block, which was a single stone block of it that was a mimic that would have bit down on your foot, trapped you there, and hopefully then your commotion would cause you to step in the wrong stones and trigger the rest of it. So that was the only thing I had that I was like, yeah, everything else is fine because they're just going to get through. She's not going to betray them. I'm not going to put too much work into creating DCs or creating this. Right. But the first one, I was like, yeah, I'll make something for that.
Nice. Yeah, so we get through the crossbow bolt section. Also, my notes just say stone bridge, iron gate, crossbow bolt. That's pretty much it.
That's not all you need for that.
Yeah. And then Jacquet, I think, mentions like, who sets this? Somebody like set up these traps every single time, which I thought, meta wise, yeah.
Which I
like,
realized when I made it, I was like, okay, realistically, what that would actually be. Would fuck up everything, so I didn't like. What it would actually be is like Cinda would probably wait there, and Hastings would disable that trap, and then they would meet each other and go into the other chamber But I realized if that was how it worked, then it would ruin all of your plans. So I was just like, let's just go past this.
So, so Jaquette talks to Sindel about Hastings and learning all her mannerisms, like as an aside, after we get all the way through. Oh yeah, sorry. When we arrive, there's like a beach to the left, and when we arrive at the old temple, which is the meeting place of what was written down in the notes that Septimus saw. So when we arrive, there's like a beach to the left, and then in front of us is the old temple. So we go through. The rest of us go through, and Jekwet and Sindel kind of just talk back and forth. Jekwet is trying his best to mimic her voice and kind of get her so that he can act and play as her in her place. The rest of us kind of just explore the temple a little bit. Bruce does set an alarm spell to go off in people's heads, while Saskia and Fern, and I don't remember what Septimus does. He does something.
He's
Septimus-
the first one that goes into the inner sanctum, right?
Septimus
Okay,
and Fearn are the first ones that go in, and they started doing just general investigation. Where that's how it was Septimus and Fearn who were the first ones who noticed the crab markings, like the crab leg markings.
Oh, right.
To show that there's
Reading into-
something else here that wasn't just humanoids.
Got it. And then Saskia, the chaotic of the bunch, she gets a sensation to drink this water. She tries to investigate this, everything about.
Let's rewind a little.
Oh,
There's
okay.
two things, Mr. Manser.
Oh, okay.
One is that we did hear from Sindel, and I don't remember if this was to the whole group or just Jacquet, but she does tell us that there are other creatures that live here. It names them as the Karkanos. So we knew that there was something here and that Hastings had an accord with them. But Sass, she was actually led there by some mysterious aurora-like, whatever you would call it.
Lights.
Lights, thank you. That she's like, you guys see this? And everyone else is like, nope.
She had walked up to the edge and was standing there and just taking in the sea breeze, and looking and seeing how far down the ledge went, and seeing that you were all below kind of the cliffside of the Widow's Ward. And then she saw the little lights, and she was the first one, I think, then to go into the chamber where the water pools were.
Right, which contained a lot of leeches. Water
Yes.
pools had a lot of leeches. Nobody wanted to touch that, but it was
Well, she did.
recognized as they were like divine. I forgot who recognized it. Was that Septimus or was
Septimus?
that?
Yeah, Septimus did a detect magic after Sass and Fearn. Fearn collected some of the water after scaring away the leeches with a
like a ray of frost.
And poured it into a vial that Septimus had. He gave it to her, and she was contemplating drinking it. And then Septimus did the detect magic, find that the waters had evocation and divination magic within them that were seeping from an old, weathered away altar in the middle of the water.
Got it. Yes. All right. That's right. And then she was going back and forth, and people were asking, or I don't remember who, but it was Fearn. It was like, are you talking to me, or who are you talking to? When she was trying to respond to her goddess patron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because the patron was telling her over and over, drink the water. You're incredibly thirsty, drink the water. And so refusing to at first, she felt a little bit more pressure, and then at some point she's like, fuck it. But she did get a little buff from doing that. And I could have this wrong too, but something about sapping the divine energy from this place after having done that.
Yeah,
Is
her
that correct?
patron, she felt a tether between her and the altar, and then felt it being like more of a current now, where it was flowing into her necklace, really not her. And the patron, she got the vibe that the patron was now draining the divine magic from this pool.
Okay. Yeah. And then at some point, Bruce and Checkett and Sindel come back and meet up at everybody. I feel like there was some sort of other conflict where everybody was like, "No, don't go in the water," because Sass wanted to go in the water prior to drinking it, and everybody was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
It was when after Bruce had fucked, or not Bruce, Fearn had Ray of Frosted the water a few times, and everyone had done was starting to argue about Sass whether she should drink it or not, is when the big scuttler crabs came out of the water.
Oh, right.
And then Jacquette was like, let's get the fuck out of this room and plan.
Is like,
I
just having my notes where it's like, finish conversation with Sindel to find the others in the inner chamber arguing over drinking water, ... Yeah, and so that's the crab starts, the hermit crab, and we're like, but it doesn't start attacking or anything. It's just eating the leeches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, let's still, as we said, let the room reset. Because that's where the meeting was supposed to go down.
Yeah.
Right. So we went in the other room, and then we started talking to Sindel a little bit more, and we kind of ended up getting her to a place or convincing her that she doesn't need this line of business anymore to continue on living. And so she's going to go try to get away from Hastings and live an honest life. Just like that, which is great. Anyway, Bruce gave her, what's up?
I was gonna say, before, like, we convinced her of this, but before that, we learned from her that, at first she was kind of like, no, like, I need Hastings, like,
right.
You guys, I don't know what you're gonna, because then it was made clear that we were, going to move without her and do the meeting, and she was like, no, like, what are you gonna do? I need him. Like, he's given me he's, as she put it, Hastings has promised a life worth living, and she believes in his cause. And that's when we also learn about that they're trying to stop the Kiernor empire from expanding.
Right. But Jacquette, I think states like so many people are gonna die for this in this manner if you go about this way. So from there, I guess we kind of like let her down this other path. But yeah, thank you. And then after that, does she leave? No, I don't think she leaves just yet.
She doesn't leave right away, but this is when Jacquette starts to
lose
it a little bit.
So Jacquette, wants to join or suggests joining Captain Hastings.
Yeah, so in the moment, one of my kind of character things for Jacquette is that he's kind of lost in life. He's a merchant's son, but he doesn't fit into that family very well. Everyone else seems to have a place, but he just feels alienated from them. And in his time, he's kind of spent a lot of time with the quote unquote layman. But additionally, I just thought it would be fun. Jacquette, unbeknownst to the rest of the party, does this thing that I decided in that moment where he reads romance novels. He's very romantic. I think it fits very well with the bard and kind of how he presents himself. He's and actually it went a step further. Does anyone watch Jane the Virgin out there? Jane the Virgin, anyone?
No, I know what the show is.
Yeah. There's a point where and I've read it too. Don Quixote, where he's and I've made a character based on Don Quixote before.
Cervantes.
Yes, exactly. Cervantes.
Is this Dominator?
Yeah. But so he loves this idea of this romantic idea of fighting the big empire, going against the big technocrats, the people that are in charge. And And I intended this to just be like a glimpse into Jacquet, like trying to grasp onto something. And I assumed the entire party would be like, shut the fuck, what are you talking about? No. And then we would move on. But instead, Fiorin was like, oh, wait a minute. That's okay. I kind of see where you're coming from. Like, yeah, let's join him, but stop him from doing this the wrong way. And then Bruce and Septimus are like, no way. Like, this is not what we agreed to. Let's stick to the plan and get out of here with our hides intact. Sass is like, I can't decide this. Patron, what do I do? And then Patron is like, who fucking gives a shit, man?
Yeah.
Drink the goddamn water.
That's
Finally
exactly.
yeah. She's like, all right, fucking fine. Whatever you want. Fine, I'll do it, okay? And she drinks the water, and everyone's like, what? And meanwhile, she's talking to herself in this moment. Everyone's like, what? She drinks it, she gets these powers, and she's like, fuck joining him. Let's kill him. And then Jacquet's like, suddenly, like, realization, reality hits Jacquet, and he's like, well, wait a minute. If we kill him, how do we get into the organization? And then, like, we're kind of like gonna piggyback off him, and like I still want to get my revenge on him, and like killing him's great, but what if we like slowly undermine him and get him exiled? Like that would be more fun. But she's just like, no, we kill him, we take it all for ourselves, all the glory, all the fame. I'm drunk on power, turns invisible and fucks off. And we're like, and Jacques would say, all right, well, I don't know what that was about. I'm kind of calmed down now after seeing a more extreme version of what I just did. Let's stick to the original plan, try to get out of here. And yeah, and at this point, I think Sindel is just like, what the fuck is she? Because she's still there at this point. She's just like, you're all fucking crazy. I don't know what's going on. I'm just gonna leave. And so, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack that.
It was a character moment. It was your character's moment, so it's a good to get that insight from you.
Exactly.
I love that description though of Sass's like manic episode there, where I love the description he's had of the patron being like, I don't care about these people that you're talking about. Just drink the fucking water.
Right.
Because I wanted her patron, which obviously we haven't learned a lot about it, but I just wanted it to be like a really like classic D&D patron, not like this. Like, not like this, like, oh, the patron's the big bad or anything, or the patron is this, or it's just like this. No, this is a actual bona fide patron that's just like, I want that. Get me that.
Right. I give you power, you give me the things I want. If that doesn't happen, we're going to have a problem.
Exactly.
And I don't think the patron's done that yet to Sass. I'm looking forward to, like, if, push comes to shove, what happens there. And I think that'll be a great character moment for Sass and Shannon, but...
Yeah, 100%.
Who cares? Drink it.
All right, Alex, what happens next?
Yeah, so we spend a long time going back and forth about whether or not to join Hastings, or kill him, or, just do what we're trying to do and get information. And I think we settled on, let's just try to get information.
Yeah.
Yep.
But... Hey, so then everything gets into place. Sindel was like, all right, I'm gonna go, and so she goes, and then Bruce and Sass hide in the...
Bruce, I just want to mention this because it's funny. Bruce did give her one of his business cards that has the sending spell on it, the one-time sending spell.
Yeah, in case, she needs her stuff back or whatever, but Bruce is not going to hand...
Bruce lied to her about that. He was like, it's all back. No, we left it back there. Haha, you never had to come with us, really.
Yeah.
And then, but everyone, I think except for, like, Jacquet was like, no, you have that stuff, don't you, man? And he was like, shut up.
It was Septimus, which is my favorite thing ever, is Septimus is just like, I love the fact that Septimus is like this high-minded, like, I've got big goals, but then every now and then there's these great moments that just like show like, but he is still just kind of a farm boy that is like been swept up in this, because he was the first one to go, no, you have it, like very much like he thought Bruce forgot that he had it in his bag.
And Bruce is not really one to like lie unless he needs to, or really, he thinks it's probably for the best. I mean, she was pretty shitty to them in the moment, and
Yeah.
they'll probably need to use that stuff. But most importantly, he didn't want to give that mine back to her.
Yeah.
Right.
Regardless of if she says, "Oh, I'm gonna go make an honest living," it's like, no, this is still very dangerous, and I don't want you to have this in your possession.
Yeah.
You were just giving this to a criminal.
Yeah.
And yeah, not gonna promote that. So I'm gonna hold on to this, even though you want it back, and we used it as leverage to get
You'll
what.
get this at the end of class.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. This is gonna stay in
So-
my desk for now.
Yeah.
If you could
So
show
you
it,
can
you
have
can
my
responsibly hold it.
Yeah. I'll give you my business card so you can get in contact with me, and
There you go.
so when push comes to shove and Hastings is dead, then maybe I'll give it back to you. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but don't be making more stuff like this. I mean, or I might. So
Or I might make it and use it on you. What?
Right. Okay, Bruce kind of knows now how to make those. I
That's
guess.
true.
It's true. You did reverse engineer it. You would just need the parts and the elemental magic.
Yeah. Anywho, so yeah, that happens. She then leaves and whatever.
We're like, bye,
Um,
have a wonderful time.
So the plan is now for Septimus and Sass, who is invisible. We don't know where she is, but we're assuming that she's where she's gonna be. And Fionn and Bruce are in the other chamber, or do I have that?
No,
wrong?
Fionn and Septimus are in the other chamber. You and
They're on
Sass
the
are
exterior.
hidden.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right, yeah.
Yeah, because
Got it.
you cast silent image on yourself to conceal yourself like a rock.
In rock, yep.
Yep, and Fionn and Septimus are like hiding behind the pillars in the other room.
On the outside.
Yeah, and Fionn puts
Yeah.
his fake eye that's magical in the
Yeah.
room so he can watch, so that he can know when to run in.
Yeah. So and then Jequet, he disguises himself. He's got a little decoy trap. What I do regret not doing,
Mhm.
or is making the decoy a trap in itself.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
I just in the moment was just like, no, let's just make this.
Yeah, like if he like turned it when Jacquet was showing him how to use it, if it like clamped down on his hand or something.
Yeah. But I mean, in my head, Bruce's head, I guess, was all right. We're just there to get information, and
Right.
Yeah, I
this
kind of
device
like
just
it
won't
that
work.
it didn't like I like that some of the it was a good plan but not a perfect plan because you all are not actually fully experienced in this kind of work yet.
Yeah.
And especially that we're like, yeah, you loud boys hide outside.
Yeah, the two
You'll
the
be
worst
fine.
abilities to stealth, the first
Yeah.
people to be hidden.
I mean, so my other plan was actually to just take the real one,
Mhm.
rework it so that the trigger is different, so that when Hastings brought it back, it just immediately blew up when he was out to sea.
Oh,
So-
oh wow. That would have been wild.
That was my thought to do, and I was like, I was like, Alex, I have to separate Alex from Bruce right now.
Yeah,
Bruce wouldn't
Yeah.
think to do that right now.
Bruce is not a master trapper yet.
No, he's an innocent little boy, and he'll break one day.
Yep.
And then he'll let Alex do what he wants to do.
Yeah, Bruce will let Alex take over.
Alex has taken over my mind.
And you'll take levels in Warlock.
Yeah. Do it.
Everyone gets one level of Warlock for their actual selves being the patrons of their characters.
Anywho, so then Hastings comes in. He's a green earth genasi with half plate, and I have written down he walks all captain like.
He's got that vibe, that captain
that
vibe.
Yeah.
Sass was right. There was a captain vibe to him.
So Jacket is like, oh, hello, and they go back and forth for a little bit. You can add in more detail of what's exactly said. I'm just gonna, but Jaquet doesn't go with the plan of getting information, and Jaquet goes around him and attempts
what
to...
happens
Sorry.
is the captain comes in, which, by the way, I think we need to do justice to Sean's description of this character because it's fucking badass. He has like crystalline, I'm gonna call them tumors, but growths is actually a better way to put it, that like come up like almost like a beard, but not quite, that joins up with like this hair that comes up. Just like this super cool concept in my head. He's got these gold amber eyes. He's got armor, like heavy armor, lots of it, but like has these like cloths over and stuff like that. Very rugged kind of guy, who looks like he can take a punch and dish it out. And then of course he's got the piece de la resistance that only those of us with high perception were able to make out. Fucking dope ass, like I imagine as I see Vox Machina's Percy's powder box. That's what I see.
It's very much like that.
Right. And then of course a pirate sword. But we see this, black powder weapon at his hilt. But it's not even, there's really no back and forth at this point. He comes in, he makes a quip about, meeting in nicer places. I respond like, you set the meeting point. Like, what am I supposed to do? And I'm trying to play it as how Sindel would. So it'd be very quick. And my intent was give him the thing and then have a little follow-up. I know I don't usually ask this, but I heard about the last thing. Just curious what the next thing is going to be. For my own curiosity. And then of course he gets it and he immediately goes oh, how, show me how it works. And Jacquette's like, what? Uh-oh, I didn't do my homework. And he's like, okay, well, you do this and do that. And he's like, well, what about the failsafe? And Jacquette's like, 50-50, let's take a bet. You didn't say anything about failsafe. And he's immediately like, what the fuck are you talking about? I specifically said I need a failsafe. So in my head, I was like, okay, we need to get, basically stop him from leaving now. So Jacquette, had first been like, oh, you do it like this, kind of showing him, and then was like, let's further move. And then my intent was to cast, as I love to do, Dissonant Whispers and have him run into the water with the leeches. But then as I was thinking about it, I was like, well, it's dual edge because Dissonant Whisper says that they don't willingly move into somewhere that's dangerous to them, like a pit of fire or something like that. Yeah. So if Hastings knows about the leeches, he probably won't run into it. But regardless, he's further away from the exit, giving us more time to
bring him down,
get together, and do something. But that's when combat falls. Comes out, and if you want to remind us what happens next, Alex.
Oh yeah, so Hastings just turns around with his gun and just shoots Jacquette. Yep. And Jacquette is unconscious.
It did come down to the initiative order, because at that point I was like, we got to do initiative. Yeah. And it, unfortunately, Hastings has max dex, and they both rolled a 17, and Jacquette has 4, and he had a 5, so he went first.
I remember Sean, he's getting everyone's thing, and he's like, I say mine, and Sean, pauses a moment, he's like, what's your dex? And I'm like, +4. Uh-oh. And Sean just kind of nods and writes something down.
Because at that moment I was like, Jacquette has max dex, so this will turn into a roll-off, right? Yeah, things are still fine. And then you're like 4, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, let's go both in dex and charisma.
Which makes sense, given your...
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So yeah, Jacquette is bleeding on the ground.
Whoopsies.
Yeah, and so what is? I don't remember what Saskia does.
Saskia, her turn isn't. So in the initiative order as it went, first of all, Theron comes running in. Yeah. He sees him pull the gun out.
Rushes.
He bums rush. They're 60 feet away, so he does have to dash to get up to him. So he basically just gets up to him.
Yeah.
And then it goes to his turn. He fires the gun at Jacquette, who gets
Theron first. Yeah.
Which, let's make it clear, Clayton was smart trying to get him up there to impose disadvantage on any ranged, or to have fear in the target because he can tank. But he was Hastings was like, no, I don't like that guy because he lied to me.
Mhm.
And even with disadvantage, I think he got like a 25 or something. And I was like,
Yeah. Yeah, he got a it was a 25, yeah. Cuz he rolled what was it?
He rolled hot.
He got a 19 and a 17.
I can pull up that what he rolled. But
Yeah.
I would need a second.
I mean, it was in the 20s.
It was either 25 or
with disadvantage.
26, I think, is what he got.
Yeah, which
'cause-
was rough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he has a +8 modifier for his attack. Because he's a level 5 character, basically. So he has the 3 proficiency, 5
Yeah.
max, and the gun is a +1.
Okay.
And but then he goes to shoot Fearn and misses because of the disadvantage. And because I remember I said technically if I was metaing this, he could just disengage from you both and not get
Right.
disadvantage. But let's stick to this because he also technically, and I kind of just technically wouldn't have disadvantage because he has the gunner feat. So I was like, I'm gonna give him the disadvantage because Fearn did the right thing, like coming up and running in. And then bam, misses against Fearn. And then it's Sass's turn, I think.
Yes.
So she goes behind him to try to give Fearn and her the flanking, I think, but she has to summon her sword, so she doesn't have time to actually do an attack. And then after that, I believe is Septimus, because you got a 0. That's right, you got a 0 on your initiative, Bruce.
Right.
Yeah.
Septimus just gets into the room enough so he can see what's going on, and he tries to catapult a rock at him, and he makes his dex save though, but it still deals half damage. And then Bruce, you get ready with a healing potion and are waiting for the right moment to go and give it to Jacquet. And then we get and I just wanted to finish out the top of this next round. Fearn goes for an attack on him and deals some good damage and hits him with the booming blade. So he's taken like 24 or 25 damage, I think. I have it in my notebook. And so like that's a pretty decent amount of damage against him. So that's why he basically is like, well, it's time to go. And disengages, takes the booming blade damage, disengages and begins to head back. Gives a little cocky smile and a comment before turning around and seeing Septimus there, which at first he's like, oh, fuck, I'm fucked. And then Septimus looks really like panicked. So he's like, oh, okay, no. And just fires at him. And does both his attacks, which does not take Septimus down. And then basically he's basically just standing over Septimus right now. And I believe that's where we ended.
Well.
Yep.
Something else happens.
Oh yes,
from
that's
the
right.
Temple depths.
Stirs
drums in the deep.
These guys.
The Karkanos. Yes, show up. So I think you said 2 of them and 2 more hermit crabs.
There's 2 hermit crabs and 2 of the Karkanos, and then you hear a big boom from inside the cave. So there's probably a bigger Karkanos in there.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and that's where we left off, with the party in the midst of a pretty hefty fight there. So now let's turn over to some speculations. What do you 2 think's gonna happen tomorrow?
Divine intervention.
Kiran shows up and saves them and says, "Hark! You're the champions of Ilyuvania."
Bayazora.
The grand champion.
Well, I mean, in the immediate, I know what Bruce is gonna do. Bruce is gonna get Jacquet up. With the healing potions from Sindel. And same for Septimus.
Yeah, because right now you all collectively have 3 healing potions because Fearn has 1 as well.
That's right, he bought some.
I forgot that he got some.
Yeah, so you have 2. Or did Fearn buy more than? I think he only bought 1. I think.
I technically have 4 of them.
Oh, because you also, so 5 in total amongst you all.
Yeah.
We got some good stuff, is the point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hastings is probably going to get away, but we can't really do much about that.
Well, Well,
and
Jacquette's a little pissed.
I mean, depending on how well we can coordinate,
Yeah.
ideally we run away from these crab people, which I'm gonna keep calling them crab people.
Yeah.
They're basically.
I mean, that is what they are. They are
the
crab
crab.
people.
Yeah.
They believe in carcinification of the world. Turn everyone into crab people. That's their entire belief. They believe
It's
crab
a
is
good
the
belief.
they believe crab is the perfect form, and they think everyone should
Is
be crab.
it a good?
You should talk to Daniel about that.
They're instilling their belief on everybody else.
Yeah,
not even
they're
me.
a force of order. They're lawful neutral force in the world.
Yeah, that's not consent right there. No.
Well, I'd say you become a crab or become crab food. That's the choice.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a real choice. I know what you're saying. It's manufactured consent.
I think it really kind of depends what happens immediately next. Like,
Yes.
you know, I think I'll have to make another save. No, I already made a saving throw.
And you succeeded.
passed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, first thing that's
and
gonna
then-
happen is you're gonna make a saving throw. Your
No,
next
I
saving throw.
passed the first saving throw, I think.
You
Yeah,
did,
so-
but that was right after his turn.
Hastings went.
His first
Oh,
turn.
and
So
then
I
we're starting with your
apologize,
turn
you
in
are correct.
Yeah.
initiative.
That's
And I mean, you might
right.
get a nat 20 and jump right up.
That happened with Kieran a few times.
Exactly. So we'll see. I agree with you. I think it entirely depends on what happens next.
A quick aside, Daniel tuned in. He's like, "Oh, so how's Paradise going?" And he's like, "Oh, already on death saves, huh? I see you're keeping the tradition up from Kieran, who went down quite often."
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, Kieran
you know,
was the tank of the party, really, in the last group.
That's true. Even though at first he was not built that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was supposed to
then
be
with some
Cal at
items.
first, but
That's true.
then that changed. So
Yeah. I was telling
The-
Stefan yesterday during D&D that I'm going to set up a second battle map of the antechamber so that I told him I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that just because he runs away doesn't mean you can't chase him. You can chase him.
Right.
right.
As Sean just said, Hastings is over Septimus's body, and depending on who Sass decides to go after, and what Bruce decides to do, and I guess where the Karkanos, where their initiative falls, if we just leave here, they might not follow us. If we go out into who knows, maybe they're sunlight sensitivity. And Jacquette's focus and my own is to take down Hastings or get something out of Hastings. So if we focus on him, it might be hard, but he can only move as far as us, and Sass can probably move further with her Misty Step, depending on how successful that can be used to maneuver through.
Oh, that's a good question actually to look at while you guys are talking. I'm gonna check if Sass has any spell slots left.
She should, because we short rested.
Yeah, I think she should have one left because she did do invisibility.
Right.
But she should have one more left, I think.
But she's all out of tentacles, right?
She is out of tentacles because those should reset on a long rest.
Yeah. So I don't know what her build is exactly right now, but if there's anything that she can do to kind of stop him in his tracks.
She's at 0. She's at 0 spell slots because she Misty stepped in the trap area.
Wait, I assume that Misty Step was one of the evocations or whatever. Can you get Misty Step as an evocation?
I
for
think you
Warlock?
can. I think there is a Misty Step evocation, but she
Okay,
has
gotcha.
the Devil's Sight and.
That's been very helpful.
Yeah. For
What
some
is her
reason, I
other
thought we always short rested after the cave, so I thought she got both of those spell slots back.
Oh, that's a good point, actually.
And then
because you
she
guys
used
did
one
sit
for
there
invisibility.
you were there for 2 hours, so I
Right,
would say you
yeah.
absolutely could have She could have. Yeah, so she actually has one slot left then.
Right.
Let's make sure if she's in the chat. And hears
she's
this.
in chat. Yes, I
She
Misty
said I
Stepped in
misstepped in the cave.
Yeah, but Shannon, Alex
But-
is right. You guys had enough time to short rest, and you weren't doing anything hefty. You were just panicking about drinking water. So, so I would say I would allow you to have reset your spell slots with a short rest there.
So you'd have one.
So,
left.
so Shannon, yeah, you have one spell slot left.
Yeah. But now the thing is, how fast can these crab people move, and are they going to go after us?
Right.
They're
If both Fjern and Sass go after Hastings, well, Bruce is going to be on top of Jack
Well,
Party, and
well, so right now, assuming that the crabs don't get an initiative turn right now,
right.
Jacquet's turn, death roll. Probably nothing's going to come out of it. And then it's Sass, so depends what she decides to do. And then it's Septimus, death saving throw. And then it's Bruce. And then so Bruce could feasibly just get Jacquet up and start leaving. And then top of the initiative, Fjern's up, and then Fjern could be like, okay, let's, do whatever.
Yeah.
And then if anything, Jacquet would be the last one in there for Hastings' turn.
Yep. So it's actually swap Septimus and Sass. Septimus is before Sass.
Okay.
Okay. Because I'm just now opening my notes, and Hastings has taken 25 damage. I confirmed that.
Right.
He took 12 bludgeoning from Septimus and 13 damage from Fjern.
Yeah. So we're not totally fucked. I think the thing here is to not stay where we are. And that's just gonna come down to, it might come down to Jacquet will be the last one. I doubt Fjern would leave anyone behind. So Fjern will probably stay here to be the last one out, and then he can just, disengage or whatever, find a way to back off. And who knows, maybe the Karkanos are like, he kills one of them and like a nice cleave, and they're like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on here? We're gonna fuck off.
Or and also the other thing too is like you can, if you need to flee, like say you do catch Hastings and knock him out or kill him, you can always like, obviously it wouldn't be good to run back into the trapped area, even though it's not trapped anymore because it's too tight. I mean, you could get, they might not be able to fit through, but you could also go down the weathered steps towards the water to try to escape. The other thing is, does he have any people down there? Does he, there was a dinghy that he was rowed over to get here, so there might be other pirates down there. I mean, there's obviously not a lot of them because it was a dinghy he came over, so there may be one or two with him.
Here's another question. Is alarm reused? Is it
alarm?
A one-time trap?
No, I think alarm is one time, I believe. But let me double check.
One
that's
shot
a good
to not
question.
let your alarm
Because
go.
I mean, if there's more that do come up,
It lasts for 8 hours.
They would probably hear an explosion from a gun go off.
Yeah, it's true.
No, it's still there. Like there's no, it doesn't say that the alarm gets reset or gets disabled once it's triggered. It just says mental alarm alerts you and pings in your mind. If you are within 1 mile of the warded area, the ping awakens you if you are sleeping. Until the spell ends, an alarm alerts you whenever a tiny or larger creature touches or enters the warded area. So full 8 hours.
All right.
That's good to know, because I used to think like you that it would go away after triggered.
Yeah, because I imagine just like a tripwire.
Exactly. Yeah.
Magical.
Yeah, right. It should be like ethereal tripwire. Anywho, yeah. So, like I initially said, as far as speculation goes, if we can get up and move at the same time and run away from these crab people and also go after Hastings, so move in sync, that would be probably ideal.
Will it work that way?
Will it work that way? Is everybody gonna think that way?
Yeah, exactly.
So
I feel like this is very this is either going to go very well for you all or very, very bad.
Yeah. And there's also going to be some things that I'm going to ask you, Sean. Being like, hey, can I do this?
Oh, some classic Alex. Alex asks.
Classic.
Can I do this?
Yeah. Hey, Sean, can I do this? I'll sacrifice this, and this. But
yeah, right. You're like, I'll take all of these negatives if you will allow me to just do this one specific thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
I love that. I love it when you do that. So before we end tonight, last speculation, what happens? So let's say things do go well. You capture Hastings. or kill him, whichever. I suppose I don't know which you guys prefer is the better outcome. What then? What do you do with him or with his body?
Panic.
Yeah.
Realizing that we're in a little over our heads. First with the Otter business and Mr. Greaves, and now with Hastings and the new Ulamo Defiance or whatever he's, whatever faction he's with. I do think that no matter what, we end up a little in. I actually think the best case scenario is Hastings just gets away and we get away and we just move on. I think that is overall the best case scenario. The more interesting story is we capture Hastings, row to his ship, and do some kind of hostage exchange.
Right. That's what I was thinking too. But that's
Interesting.
Alex speaking. But Bruce would not be on board for that. Bruce would be like, okay, if everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
But
see, I didn't even think of that. Of you possibly.
Yeah, I was thinking either kill him or capture him. Take his clothes. Jekwet, can disguise as him, and you act as Captain Hastings and just find out more information about what he was doing.
Yeah,
and everybody,
what we were doing here, laddies.
And
that's how Hastings talks, right?
Everybody else in the party, so like Bruce, Septimus, Sass, and Fearn, could be capturees of Captain Hastings. And
oh wow, this could turn into a whole like mini arc or something on the ship. Yeah,
I gotta get that ship to you soon.
You guys might have a ship sooner than we thought.
So, I mean, that's where my brain went immediately.
That's very interesting.
I think that would be the most fun. I think you're gonna have a lot of conflict to bring that plan into fruition. Bruce and Septimus would have to get on board, because I know that Fearn and Sass would definitely be like, yeah, of course, why not?
Yeah, they'd be down for that.
I love this dichotomy of the 3 elements of chaos versus the 2 pillars of law.
Yeah.
And it's just like, the intersection is just perfect.
And I think what's interesting about it is that Fearn is kind of the nexus of that, because Fearn in most cases can go either way. I think Fearn, like, his actual alignment is lawful neutral, but that lawfulness is entirely in based
on his
code. It's not like lawful neutral in the and his code it very much so can lend to chaos in many situations.
Yeah. Right. It's the code of Clayton.
Yeah.
Which is chaos.
Yeah, so it's interesting. That's the thing I think is interesting about Fearn, is that it's a very lawful character played by a very chaotic player.
Right, but like Clayton has like all these things like typed out. Like he has the code.
The codes are real.
Himself.
It's not like he makes it up on the go.
And he looks at it and goes, "Okay, what does this go to?" And then he's like, "All right, cool.
Will this choice still abide the code?"
Yes.
And if it's chaotic and it still abides the code, then that's where we're going. Cool.
Yeah.
This is all very interesting. I think something that's interesting about it is like you started this campaign with like, we need to lay low. And now you've gotten this arc of the find the Bone Rattler has kind of come to a peak here, where it's like you have found the Bone Rattler and you have a chance potentially to like actually like thoroughly go through and stomp this arc and like have total victory essentially in this arc. And I think that's super interesting, because it's going, if you do get the like, finish all the achievements 100 out of 100 for this arc, like you can't lay low anymore. Like you are going to be known in some way, whether it's like the crew of the Bone Rattler, if you like say like, all right, anyone who's still loyal to Hastings, get the fuck off this boat, they're gonna go around and be like, yeah, these fucking scrubs out of nowhere absolutely took down our ship. And that reverberations throughout is what will be interesting, because then suddenly it's like, okay, I love that Jekwet has always been kind of said like, hey, Greaves probably doesn't give a shit about us because we're small potatoes. And then suddenly now, though, if you commandeer and successfully mutiny a pirate ship from a captain who's a former Alumno Defiance captain, like that's now interesting for anyone in Hyven.
Right.
Any of the factions in Hyven.
We're the movers and shakers. We're gonna, if anything, it means people will start coming to us, not to necessarily hurt us, but to be like, So what's going on here?
Yeah,
Who
even if
the
it's
fuck
just to
are
be
you?
like, what are
Yeah.
your values? Like, who are you
Right.
loyal to? Like, are you someone who is going to be a friend to our organization or a
Mm-hmm.
foe? You know, the Alumno Defiance is going to be like, foe probably is going to be their immediate reaction. But at the same time, if you come up with a boat and you're just like, yeah, we're in, like if you're going down that path that Jacquet was saying, they might be like, all right, well, maybe Hastings was a bit foolish. Maybe we can, who knows?
Right.
Or the Aradunai might come and be like, we were aware of certain things. Like, who are you and what do you think?
Yeah.
Do you jive with us? And everyone, basically. I mean, the Commodore might have an interest in you. And be like, okay, new pirate just dropped. Let's figure out if they're going to follow my laws. And if they are, then I'm going to sanction their piracy or their ship. If not, we might have trouble.
And I just think it's I almost feel bad because like Jacquet, Fjern, and Sass are like have very strong opinions about where they want this to go. They might not necessarily, speak where they want it to go all the time. Like they're not a driving force about it, but like when push comes to shove, each one of them has like a way that they're like, no, this is what I want us to do. This is what I want for myself. And yeah, you guys should come with me. Whereas like Bruce and Septimus like don't have that strong, and it's still just really interesting how like we naturally got split into these two groups.
Yeah.
But so it's like it's gonna be interesting to see like Bruce and Septimus, what they kind of decide to do with this. And I almost feel bad because it's like, I think like true to the character, like Bruce and Septimus would probably just be like, no, we're leaving.
Right.
So now we gave you guys the hard work to be like, all right, how do I justify what my character, like how my character goes along with this? But I think with like old D&D characters, like both of them do have wants to gain power and to go somewhere in life. And if nothing else, they're like, fuck it, like here's my opportunity to get that thing that I want. Here's my opportunity to progress in some way. It's not the way that they want to by any means, but it's an opportunity.
Because that's the alternative. The alternative is to go on their own or go back to the house and start rebuilding it and sort of still be at step one that they were at before. It's an opportunity. Yeah. Well, that's the thing too, is it's an opportunity for them to assert their wants into the group in the way that the Chaos Trio has, where they could be like, okay, we're gonna stay with you, but we have some rules now from us.
Yeah.
That if we're gonna make this all work, we need you to give us a bone, and we can still have a partnership here, but we want this much say in things so that we can, we want say in like, we want to start doing stuff for Sigil so that we can get into the academy, and then Jacquet can be like, okay, that's yes, but in exchange, you need to use the knowledge you learned there to help outfit the Bone Rattler with, better cannons or something, like, and that's where there's very much so an easy mutualistic path here.
Yeah,
it's just the characters need to see it and think about it that way. Obviously, like that's long thinking, because Bruce and Septimus in this moment are probably going to be like, whoa, okay, well, what the fuck? And it's going to require kind of a conversation, I think, with everyone for you all to in character feel that path.
Right. But also, I mean, here's like just another thing too. If there are other pirates on the boat or the ship that Hastings was on, and they're going to come looking for him if he doesn't come right away.
True.
If Jacquet does replace him in time, he can immediately be like, arrest these people.
It's true.
That's true.
In which case, it would force the situation. For like Bruce and Septimus don't have a choice; they have to go.
Yeah. That's true. That is true. And it's an interesting point. Like, if you guys don't do what you need to do in time, eventually, like, the Bone Rattler is going to send people to look for Hastings.
Right.
It's very exciting, very interesting stuff that can come from this. Any last thoughts, folks, before we call it for tonight?
That was my last thought.
I always have a million thoughts about this campaign going at any given time. I'll save
I'm
you
just gonna initiate the mine right now.
Yeah, just flood the whole
and
space.
the crab people can kill us all as we're underwater.
Yeah, because they can definitely swim faster than all of you, except Sass.
Oh,
maybe.
That's right. She can breathe underwater, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if we take these potions,
That's true. There's 2 water breathing potions. So
4. It's 4 water breathing.
Oh, you're right, because there was 12 in total. My bad. My
health
brain for some
potions? Yeah,
reason
you're
went
good.
with 6. Yeah, that's true. Wow, isn't that convenient?
It's almost like you didn't plan it, or did plan it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Good job, Sean. We finally figured out what you wanted us to do.
Yeah. He wants us to
Sink
go
the bone
blow up some
rattler.
ships. Yeah. Pretty much. Got him.
But I suppose you can also take it over. Alrighty. All right. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us. We are going to send a raid on over to Zealzaddy, who's playing a little D&D tonight. Or actually, no, I think he has his talk show tonight. And yeah, thank you, everyone. Join us tomorrow night, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be jumping into this right away with Jacquette's death saving throw.
Nat one.
And then we are going to, and then Shannon will be back for the Power Hour next week, and we'll resume her grading.
What did we
only
get for
if-
session 9?
Only if, if she does concede that Stefan is the better note taker, then
That's
she can
true.
also look at our notes.
That's true.
She said
could
she would
gain
never do
access.
that,
She
so
could gain
she said
access
she
to
would
never.
a supplementary
Okay.
material. Yeah, she's only hurting herself.
Also, what grade did I get? I mean,
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Stefan, what would you grade Alex's performance? Yeah. And Shannon, if you're still in chat, what would you grade Alex's performance?
I'd say he missed a few things. I think
more
he
than a
still
few
got
things.
the gist of it. So I'm somewhere between a C plus and a B minus.
All right.
Okay.
I'll take it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna see what the dice say.
Yeah. See what the dice say.
Oh, the dice say a 17. I did really well.
Oh, I'm glad.
I would stick with the B minus. I would go with the B minus.
You're too kind of a grader, Sean. Come on.
No, I would
D
definitely.
plus.
I mean,
now you're a little.
No,
don't
you
have
had
any
the
experience,
shape
but,
of the whole session. There was just some details missing.
Yeah.
If you
I'm
were
not a
Shannon, I would
professional
give you a C.
grader.
Just because I'm harder on Shannon. No.
Wow.
That's not
Favoritism.
true.
I'm going to the dean of academics or whatever.
Okay. Hi, I'm the dean.
Oh, hi. I have a DM that is a great
He's
guy.
mad
I
with
really
power.
like him.
Okay, we'll fire him.
What? No.
No problem. He's out.
I didn't-
Your campaign is
no.
canceled.
Oh,
It'll take 6 months to be reassigned to a new campaign.
The worst nightmare.
All right, let's raid Zealzaddy. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us in this extra special Power Hour. We'll hopefully have other guests in the future again to do some fun little discussions like this. But have a good night. Hope you enjoyed your time in Paradise, and I hope you'll join us tomorrow in Paradise. Bye.
Yes.